Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stottara Shri Srimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Sumstapakacharya Savior of the whole world Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari. Change this concept on a soft cushion. Give me a hard just to back. This cushion has to be Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 18. King Yayati regains his youth. Text 23. Yayatir anabhipretam Yayatiranabipretam Yayatiranabipretam Daivoparutam Atmanaha Daivopahrutamatmanaha Daivopahrutamatmanaha Manastu Tadgatam Buddhva Manastu Tadgatam Buddhva Manastu Tadgatam Buddhva Pratijagraha Tadvachaha Pratijagraha Tadvachaha Pratijagraha Tadvachaha ययातिरनभिप्रेतं दैवोपहृतमात्मनः मनस्तु तद्गतं बुद्ध्वा प्रतिजग्राह तद्वचः. No. Later on. Later on. Yayatihi, King Yayati, anabhipretam, not liked, daiva upahritam, brought about by providential arrangements, atmanaha, his personal interest, manaha, mind, tu, however, tat gatam, being attracted to her, buddhva, by such intelligence, pratijagraha, accepted, tat vachaha, the words of Devayani. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Shukadeva Goswami continued, because such a marriage is not sanctioned by regular scriptures, King Yayati did not like it. But because it was arranged by providence and because he was attracted by Devayani's beauty, he accepted her request. Please repeat this translation. Shukadeva Goswami continued, because such a marriage is not sanctioned by regular scriptures, King Yayati did not like it. But because it was arranged by providence and because he was attracted by Devayani's beauty, he accepted her request. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to the Vedic system, the parents would consider the horoscopes of the boy and girl who were to be married. If, according to astrological calculations, the boy and girl were compatible in every respect, the match was called Yotaka, and the marriage would be accepted. Even 50 years ago, this system was current in Hindu society. Regardless of the affluence of the boy or the personal beauty of the girl, without this astrological compatibility, the marriage would not take place. A person is born in one of three categories known as Devagana, Manushyagana and Rakshasagana. In different parts of the universe, there are demigods and demons. And in human society also, some people resemble demigods, whereas others resemble demons. If according to astrological calculations there was conflict between a godly and a demoniac nature, the marriage would not take place. Similarly, there were calculations of Pratiloma and Anuloma. The central idea is that if the boy and girl were on equal level, the marriage would be happy, whereas inequality would lead to unhappiness. Because care is no longer taken in marriage, we now find many divorces. Indeed, divorce has now become a common affair. Although formerly, one's marriage would continue lifelong, and the affection between husband and wife was so great that the wife would voluntarily die when her husband died, or would remain a faithful widow throughout her entire life. Now, of course, this is no longer possible, for human society has fallen to the level of animal society. Marriage now takes place simply by agreement. Dampatye abhiruchir hetuhu. Bhagavatam 12th canto 2nd chapter 3rd verse. The word abhiruchi means agreement. If the boy and girl simply agree to marry, the marriage takes place. But when the Vedic system is not rigidly observed, marriage frequently ends in divorce. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Very interesting purport by Srila Prabhupada, and it is enlightening to modern day people especially, that people sometimes ask, is it really important to match the horoscopes of the boy and girl who are going to get married? Is it required? Sometimes they say, we don't know whether we should believe in astrology, astrological calculations. So astrology, first of all, we should understand, is a perfect science. It is called Jyotishya. And Jyotishya in the Vedic literature, it comes under what? Shruti or Smriti? Jyotishya is part of Shruti or Smriti? Shruti. No, Jyotishya is classified under Smriti. And under Smriti, there are 6 divisions of Smriti literature, Vedic literature. The first one is Itihasa, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Harivamsha, such literatures. Then the second division of Smriti literature is called Puranas. So Puranas Bhagavatam is Purana, Padma Purana, Vishnu Purana. So there are 18 Mahapuranas, 18 Upapuranas, and many Sthala Puranas. Then, apart from the Itihasas and Puranas, the third category of Smriti literature is called Sutras. Sutras are very concise codes documenting some particular subject. So there is the Vedanta Sutra, the famous Vedanta Sutra. Among sutras, the most famous one is Vedanta Sutra. Then there are Grihya Sutras, Kalpa Sutras, so many. Then the fourth division of Vedic literature, Smriti literature, is called Vedanga. In Vedanga, there are 6 angas of the Vedic basics. This is basics of Vedic literature. And it contains 6 different subjects, these Vedangas. Shiksha, Chandas, Nirukta, then Jyotisha and Kalpa. How many are over? 5 are over. One more. Shiksha, Chandas. One more is there. I don't remember. Anyway, Jyotisha is one of the Vedangas. And it is part of Smriti literature. And Jyotisha is basically astronomy, the positions of the different planets, the orbits in which they move, the planetary positions which indicate the past, present and future, especially of human beings. So, that indication of the planetary positions which gives us an idea about our karmic reactions, that is called astrology. So, Jyotisha is both astrology and astronomy. It's a perfect science. But while astronomy is simply some mathematical calculations, astrology has got a subdivision called prediction. Predictions of the future. Now, these predictions can be accurate only if the astrologer is making these predictions after having sufficiently studied this astrological science. Because there are too many details to go through before a prediction can be done. So, an astrologer can do prediction based on how much he has studied and how much experience he has got in making predictions based on calculations. In any case, in the Vedic culture, especially when a boy and girl have to get married, the parents would consider the horoscopes of the boy and girl who are to be married. That's what Prabhupada says here. And according to astrological calculations, they would see whether the boy and girl were compatible in every respect. And what is this compatibility? What does it mean as far as we are concerned as devotees? Even for those who are not devotees, this is applicable. But for devotees, there's a special significance. Compatibility here means everyone who takes birth, all human beings, according to their past actions, there is an acquired nature. Everyone has an acquired nature. Generally, it is a combination of sattvic, rajasic and tamasic qualities based on the association in the previous life or previous lives. So, if a girl has got a certain acquired nature and the boy has another kind of acquired nature, then by doing this horoscope matching, the compatibility is checked whether their natures are similar so that they can live together peacefully. So how is this compatibility done, especially for marriage? That is described by Prabhupada here. Prabhupada gives so many details, which is amazing. He says, a person is born in one of three categories known as Devagana, Manushyagana and Rakshasagana. Basically, this acquired nature, according to the birth star, is classified into three subdivisions. One set of stars, there are 27 birth stars. So 9 threes are 27. So 9 stars are classified as Devagana and 9 more stars are classified as Manushyagana, this birth star. And 9 yet the last 9 stars are classified as Rakshasagana. Now we should not wrongly think that Rakshasagana means they are necessarily those born in the stars corresponding to Rakshasagana are not necessarily demons. Neither those born with birth star belonging to Devagana is not necessarily a divine character person. Please note this. But the behavior and the acquired nature, if both of them are similar according to this classification, Devagana, Manushyagana, Rakshasagana, that is the best compatibility. The boy and girl both are Devagana, best compatibility. Or both boy and girl are Manushyagana, best compatibility. Both are Rakshasa Gana, best compatible. But if they are not the same Gana by birth star, then there is incompatibility. But this incompatibility is the maximum, too much, when the boy belongs to Devagana and the girl belongs to Rakshasa Gana, or vice versa. So Devagana and Rakshasa Gana is most incompatible. Now this compatibility is applicable only in terms of material qualities. This birth in one of the ganas, Devagana, Manushya Gana, Rakshasa Gana, is only applicable for material qualities. It is nothing to do with the spiritual advancement that particular boy or girl might have done in their previous life due to their having executed devotional service. It is nothing to do with that. Therefore, for devotees, if the boy and girl both are devotees, Prabhupada would not see this compatibility chart and then give the consent as guru for his disciples to get married. Prabhupada explains that if both the boy and girl are devotees, then irrespective of whether their material natures match or don't match, both of them can lead a very peaceful life, because devotees' consideration is the husband and wife simply are coming together for the sake of cooperating with each other for both of them to make spiritual advancement and perfect their human form of life. So it doesn't matter what particular birth star they are born in, what type of material qualities they have, it doesn't matter at all. Also, because both are engaged in chanting Hare Krishna, their material qualities become purified with time, and they become sober, they develop more and more good qualities, and the perfection is when they become pure devotees, they have only good qualities. They don't have any trace of any material deficiencies. That's a perfection. But in any case, even if they are neophyte devotees, if they simply agree to follow the Guru's instructions, because both are initiated devotees of the spiritual master, both have taken vows to follow the basic principles, chanting 16 rounds every day, following the 4 regulative principles, avoiding the 4 pillars of sinful life, then there is no question of compatibility checking. There is no question of checking. Simply because they are devotees, and if they follow the principles the rest of their life, their married life will be a happy one. This is for especially applicable for devotees. Now, if the boy and girl are devotees, but not very strong devotees, not very strict in following all the spiritual rules and regulations, then it is better to check the compatibility. Better to check the compatibility. Because as Srila Prabhupada says, nowadays, because care is no longer taken in marriage to do this compatibility, we find many divorces. Indeed, divorce has now become a common affair. Now, even among devotees, we find divorces. Why? Because there is incompatibility, but in spite of incompatibility, material incompatibility, they are not overcoming the incompatibility because of their not strictly following the spiritual principles. In following spiritual principles, a Vaishnava's behavior is not to find fault with the other Vaishnava or Vaishnavi. Not to find fault. This Vaishnava behavior. So both the husband and wife, in spite of whatever deficiencies, if they are busy finding fault with each other, then how can they live together? How can there be peace at home? Constantly there will be strife. Daily battle of Kurukshetra. Whereas, if they follow the Vaishnava principle, not to find fault, then incompatibility doesn't matter. So therefore, what Srila Prabhupada is saying here, that this Vedic system is good because everybody may not be so spiritually inclined, or even if they are spiritually inclined, they may not be very strict followers of the spiritual principles. In which case, if there is no compatibility in their natures, acquired natures, there is going to be conflict. And it's not always easy to resolve conflicts between two individuals, especially when they are adults. So therefore, if somebody wants that the marriage would last an entire lifetime, like it used to happen before, then they should check the compatibility before the boy and girl get married. And to avoid any mistakes or any kind of overlooking the qualities or the horoscopes, the parents would do this matching, not the boy and girl. Parents would consider the horoscopes of the boy and girl who are to be married, and then either do the astrological calculations if they themselves know, otherwise they would get it done by a proper astrologer, and then decide whether it is compatible or not compatible. So it's very simple, very, very simple. Now, this compatibility matching is not a question of whether somebody believes or does not believe in astrology. Sometimes people think if you have belief, then you have to do compatibility matching. And if you don't have belief, you need not do. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. Because this astrology is a science. It's a science. And it cannot be wrong. Science means it is not by chance there is compatibility, or by chance there is no compatibility. Nothing like chance. It's perfect. It's perfect science. So, in devotional service, one's past karma or one's acquired nature can be very easily overcome simply by strictly following the devotional principles. That's the power of devotional service. What is the power of devotional service? The Srimad Bhagavatam says, even a Chandala is the lowest of human beings, lowest class of human beings. Even a Chandala can become Dvijashrestha by simply following the devotional principles under the expert guidance of a pure devotee spiritual master. And even a first class Brahmana can degrade himself to become lower than a Shudra or a Chandala if he does not take to devotional service. If he does not take to devotional service. Just like Ajamila. He was a first class Brahmana. But since he was not engaged in devotional service, simply by bad association, he became degraded. He became degraded. So, and again, so degraded he became, but still, simply because he chanted the holy name, he was able to overcome all the disadvantages of the sinful life he was leading. He overcame completely. Just because he chanted the holy name. So, without devotional service, human form of life in this material world is very risky. Very risky. Even such great devatas as Indra, Chandra, Varuna, all of them, they are very, 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 very pious personalities. Without having immense amount of pious credits, they cannot occupy that post, exalted post. In the whole universal administration, you can imagine, Indra controls the rainfall all over the universe. And he has got control of one Samvartaka clouds. This is explained in the Krishna book, in the 10th canto by Shukadeva Goswami. The Samvartaka clouds are under control of Indra at the time of partial devastation of the universe. Because the upper planets are not destroyed at the end of Brahma's day. Only middle and lower planets are destroyed, earth and below. Destroyed means they are not actually destroyed, they are submerged in the water of devastation. They're submerged. So that submerging happens because of that devastating rainfall by Samvartaka clouds. You can imagine how powerful Indra is. So obviously, when such power is given, it is not given to some unqualified person. So Indra is highly qualified to be the controller of rainfall. But still, Indra also gets carried away by lust, by greed, by anger. Being carried away by lust. He, in this itself, we have that not in this, in some other place. Somebody who was officiating in place of Indra, he molested some Apsara. See? Chandra, the moon god, he forcibly took away Brihaspati's wife and he was completely chastised and reprimanded by Brahma. And there was a big fight between the Devatas and the, I think, Danavas when this incident happened. It's described in the earlier portion of this 9th canto. So like this, even one situated in Sattva Guna can get carried away by lust or greed or anger. Whereas somebody is situated in devotional service, unaffected by lust, greed, anger, unaffected. So if neophyte devotees don't follow the devotional principles, they are subjecting themselves to the risk of being affected by influence, external influence of lust, greed, anger, etc. When we have a material body, we are subject to influence. But that influence cannot bewilder our mind if we are strictly following the devotional principles. Especially for us, we have to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra and follow the 4 regulative principles. If we do this much, we will never be affected by external influence of lust, anger, greed, illusion, enviousness, or madness, intoxication. Will never be affected by any of these 6 things. Arishad Varga. Vijita Shadguna. Devotee is described as Vijita Shadguna. He's conquered the 6 external influences. One place Prabhupada says the 6 external influences are lust, greed, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. Another place Prabhupada says the 6 external influences are the 6 whips of material existence. Hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, invalidity, and death. These are the Shad Guna. Vijita Shadguna, devotee is Vijita Shadguna. Means devotee can conquer these lust, anger, greed, etc. He can also conquer hunger, thirst, lamentation, everything, including death. So simply by following these devotional principles, irrespective of the background of the devotee, before coming to Krishna consciousness, somebody might have been in Tamoguna or Rajoguna or Sattoguna, doesn't matter. Whatever the background. After having taken to Krishna consciousness, if one strictly follows the basic principles even, not even all the detailed rules, just these basic principles. Of course, all the rules are important for us to accelerate our progress, to perfect our devotional principles, devotional practice in one lifetime. We have to follow all the rules. But even if somebody is not able to follow all the rules, if they just follow these two fundamental principles, that's why we take vow at the time of Harinam Diksha. What is the vow we take? I will chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra Japa every single day, rest of my life. And I will follow the 4 regulative principles strictly, rest of my life. So this much if we follow, we cannot be touched by these 6 influences: lust, greed, anger. Now you see this, I'll conclude with this point, that Yayati, he knew that this marriage is not sanctioned by regular scriptures because of Pratiloma marriage. Therefore, he did not like this marriage. Because such a marriage is not sanctioned by regular scriptures, King Yayati did not like it. But because he was not fixed up in devotional service, he got influenced by some external influence. What is that external influence? But because it was arranged by providence, what is this arranged by providence? He did not go searching after a beautiful girl to marry. He happened to be hunting and searching for some water. He came across Devayani, beautiful girl. And because he was attracted by Devayani's beauty, he accepted a request. See, he knows it is not proper. But still he married. Why did he marry? Because he was attracted by her beauty. So he could not resist. He could not resist. Powerful king. He's ruling the whole world. He's not an unqualified person. But he could not resist. He could not resist. And we'll see later that he had given a word while marrying Devayani. Shukracharya told him, don't associate with these maid servants that are coming with you for sex. Still he violated. And then later on he was cursed by Shukracharya. That's a chapter. This chapter will describe that. The later portions. You see how one is prone to be affected by lust or greed. Indra, he became angry against one Vishwarupa. In the 6th canto, this is described in detail. And he became so angry for some mistake he might have done, some small mistake. He killed him. He killed a Brahmana. A qualified Brahmana he killed. And he had to suffer so much of sinful reaction because of that killing, Vishwarupa. You see, somebody not engaged in strictly following the devotional principles is subject to influence of these 6 external influences in this material world. As long as the material body is there, we are subject to influence. If we don't engage in devotional service, we cannot have that protection. We cannot have the protection of being not influenced, not being carried away. So this is a lesson for us from this incident of Yayati. It's not enough to be sattvic person. No. Like the example of Indra is clearly given in the Bhagavatam. He's very, very sattvic person. But he also gets affected by the lower modes, by external influence, and he falls down. So similarly, neophyte devotees who don't strictly follow the basic devotional principles are taking a risk that they may fall down. They may fall down if they're not careful to follow the principles. Simply following the principles, we are having a kind of kavacha, armor, protecting us. I'll stop here. Antarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.